Welcome to Darth Microtransactions News Station, your number one most trusted news source when it comes to Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and we are going to be going over this week. Alright, let's talk about in-game events. Right now we got the credit heist going on, so make sure you do not miss your 2 sims of the credit heist, at least get your 5 mil. We got the Fleet Mastery coming up the next day, so if you're a newer player and haven't mastered Tarkin ship yet, this might be a good time to go ahead and get that. And then we're going to have an Omega battle in 2 days. Now if we switch on over to speculation on events here, what we have next is we have the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes events page ran by my buddy Sig, and he is showing that upcoming we're going to have the Artist of War Mythic, the standard Artist of War there, coming up as well, and we're most likely going to see the Imperial Chimera coming up in this next month. No estimate yet on the Darth Revan events or anything like that, but we do know that we're at least going to get Artist of War. We're mid-cycle on the way through on R2-D2 as well as Fly the Falcon and the Wookiee, so if you're expecting to see any Rebels-related content pretty soon, you might have to wait a little bit. Same thing with the Luke Skywalker CLS Hero's Journey. We're midway through that, so you probably got at least another month. Malak, no news updated to know how far that's going to be. That's the first Mythic Showdown event, so we're not sure on the cadence of that. And of course, the ones that just ended recently are going to be your Palpatine, JTR, and Jedi Knight Revan. Okay, now back into the game for a second because we got to talk about your lock-in. Currently, Grand Arena is back-to-back, so as of the posting of this video, you're probably going to only have an hour to lock in. Make sure you've done that if you have not yet, and get on in there so you can get your Grand Arena rewards. And let's check out, it looks like the rewards this time, we're getting back-to-back on the generators. It looks like we're just going to get the same rewards once again. Now, if you go in here to your guild event, we are currently going through the territory battles. Make sure that if you do your territory battles, you're getting in your combat missions, you're locking in on your platoons, and you're doing your special missions, and you can make sure your guild's going to like you. And then try to participate in your raids if you're getting any. Good luck with your heroic Sith drops this week. Okay, moving on to the Reddit recap. Let's see what we got on Reddit. It looks like, once again, we are kind of complaining about the hard node changes. I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 cents in on this. They said it was temporary when they launched it. It went longer than they said it was going to be. We can't really complain about this anymore. There is an argument to be made that in the evolution of the game, as more characters come out, more legendaries, in order to keep pace to the game, 8 hard nodes, it seems to be the right balance. I think everyone felt fine with that, but to be fair, CG did say this was a temporary change. However, I'm on the bandwagon of please give us 8 hard nodes once again. Now, this is a conversation I've actually seen blowing up recently on Twitter and in Reddit and kind of in my own Discord. We've been talking about price packing points. Price packing points, say that 3 times fast, about Star Wars Galaxy Heroes compared to some of these other mobile games. I'll give you an example. I've been playing Raid Shadow Legends, and compared to that, $100 in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes gets you effectively nothing, where $100 in some of these other games gets you a large amount of characters or an increase in power in the game, or at least playability in the game, like tons of energy, etc. I think this is a fair point. I believe that the Star Wars Galaxy Heroes has been getting more expensive, but I'm not going to go too deep into thoughts on this. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, this is interesting. This was a survey that was done on the Reddit. They asked a bunch of questions, and here I'll go through it briefly. Basically, the overall game rating, they gave them most people gave it a 7.4 out of 10 was the average. 56% of all players giving the game score an 8 or higher. That's pretty high. I think that's higher than I would have assumed right now. It said there was a negative correlation between playing time and overall rating. 36 plus month players, so people in that 3-year bracket, give an average rating of 7.24 out of 10, with 53% of them giving a score of 8 or higher. But people have only been playing who just started all the way to 2 years gave the game an average higher score of 7.58, with 57% giving a score of 8 or higher. I think this goes to show there is some correlation with burnout in this game, and that is a large problem. Now, there's the biggest problems in this game they voted on. Looks like the number 1 biggest problem is the gear crunch. I'm going to touch on this briefly and say that I've noticed in some of the other games I'm playing, like I will again use Raid Shadow Legends as an example because it is a very competitive game. There isn't so much a gear problem. It's the problem itself is just unlocking and leveling the characters, and your gear can be moved from character to character. I like that a lot. For me, it feels like with the way the meta switches in this game, having to put large amounts of gear on characters feels like an investment, and one that gets taken away as better characters come out. So moving along in this problem, characters take too long to farm, power creep, panic farming for legendary events, Omega crunch, low value for money, once again, lack of developer communication, character over complexity, quality of life, the requirements to play at specific times, quality of life, time required per day. The Zeta crunch and the credit crunch seem to be the biggest problems people want alleviated in this game. It seems like overall these are the way it was rated, and the gear crunch was by far number one, with power creep being by far number two. Looks like the most enjoyable game modes are just events, Grand Arena, Territory Battles, Territory War, Rage and Gemro, the Heroic Sith Raid, Squad Arena, and Fleet Arena, in that order. Okay, now let's start switching over to the YouTube community, and let's go ahead and show you guys what the YouTube community's been up lately. I'm going to start with my buddy Urzatron and give him a quick shout out here, or Urz I should say. He's getting close to that 10K mark, so go hit him up. And it looks like he's been doing similar to what I've been doing, which is kind of trying out some other games, other Star Wars related stuff, as well as doing his Grand Arena streams. That's what he's been up to. Now, other thing is we have his Cubs fan Han here actually put out a video called exactly how much money he spent on Star Wars Galaxy Hero since Revan. I was going to do a similar video on this, but I know he put it out, so go check that out if you're interested in that kind of content. It was an interesting video, and he has some good points there. And then me and him 5 days ago, if you haven't seen it already, there was a crazy invincible Magna Guard bug that I told him about, and we made a video on it. Now, moving on over to Arnold T101, he's got a couple good videos out recently. He did the Clone Wars Chewbacca with Padme that actually shows that Clone Wars Chewbacca is pretty good, so if you haven't seen that video yet, I do highly recommend watching that one. Moving over to my buddy Mobile Gamer here, we did have memes. Now, going back to our Reddit recap, every Friday now is going to be meme day, and he did kind of a meme review there, and I recommend watching that one if you haven't yet. He's pretty funny. Now, last but certainly not least is my buddy Sir George Games here. We should welcome him all back. He has been doing some kind of guide related videos. It's been very enjoyable to watch him. He has some very monster videos with large, I mean 250k, 220k views. This guy's a top tier theory crafter, so shout out to my boy Sir George. Go check him out as well. Okay, moving on to speculation here. It's been over 10 days since we got our last update. It's a little bit radio silence. The last thing we got was the reworks for Nute Gunray and Count Dooku. Now, some people are speculating that Nute Gunray is going to get a ship, General Grievous is going to get a ship, that Separatists need a capital ship, and that's why it's radio silence. They're working on that. Personally, I think they're just working on territory battles. Maybe they're working on the Grand Arena Championship. They're fixing those bugs, so that way when it does come out, it'll be, you know, up to date and top tier. If you haven't seen my Grand Arena data mine, I'll throw it in the thing up here where you can click on it if you want. It breaks down what the Grand Arena Championships are going to be like. Now, moving right along, the last biggest change we've had in game has been that the Ebon Hawk has been added to Cantina Battles 8E, and the character that was there, Gar Saxon, has been moved to Cantina Battles 2E. Props to CG both for giving us a good ship on a Cantina Battle, as well as moving an already difficult character who's not top tier to a significantly easier Cantina Battle. And while we're on the topic of game props to CG, I want to say thank you very much, CG, from me personally, for changing the challenges to only, I think it's a 6-second cooldown now. You can basically just spam the multi-sim and get it done. Amazing quality of life change, much needed, thumbs up. Okay, moving on to what I've currently been working on. I've been farming Aayla Secura, primarily because I've been working on my Padme team. I have Gear 12 Double Zeta Padme. I'm working on my Anakin Skywalker. He will be Zetaed shortly, and then I'm going to be working on my Snips. And I'm kind of working on Aayla Secura because I want kind of the B-tier people to be my Galactic Republic team. I think they're going to get carried by the Courage buff, namely. And plus, I don't really want to pull like General Kenobi, R2-D2, and people like that away from other teams. I like having, you know, just the Galactic Republic people. Maybe I'll put the Clone Wars Chewie in there as well for the 5th. And I finished my B1 Bow Droid today, so I have now completed the Separatist droid team shardwise, and I just have to finish gearing. And other than that, I've actually been focusing on, believe it or not, the Clone Troopers, because we are doing the dark side territory battle for Geonosian first, but they said they will be doing the light side after. It's a long farm through Guild or Fleet Store, and I figured by the time that rolls around, I probably want my Clone Troopers to be ready, because I promise you there will be some content that will require the Clone Troopers at some point coming up, so I'm preparing for the future. Other than that, we are midway through the cycle for the Han's Millennium Falcon, so I am going in here, I'm refreshing this node, and I am attempting to get all of Cad Bane, IG-88, Bosk is done, and then Boba Fett's done as well, ship. That way I am ready for 7-star Han's Millennium Falcon when it comes around. It is very important, so I would be focusing on that too. Other than that, what I've been doing is trying to get good mods, so I've been going in here, the speed mods, just doing my speed mod challenges, my refreshes, anything that looks somewhat decent I'll roll, but no big gains as of this week. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this here weekly update. Let me know if you would like more weekly updates like this. I'm thinking about making it a thing just to kind of recap so you can have your one-stop shop for all things Star Wars Galaxy Heroes related. Subscribe if you haven't already to be up to date with all of my content, and I hope you have a great day.